Oh my god, it goes under the entire parking lot. Whoa!
Here we have Icarus, which is North America's tallest water slide. Hello again from the end of the video where I once again forgot to say that if you're new here, hi, I'm Jeremy, but you can call me Jerendelle. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so every time I post something, you can come and slay with me. All right, back to the video. See you in a bit.
Whoa, Biscuit, back it up. We missed a few things before this. Back to the beginning.
28 parks in a little over a month. What? That is what we are about to do. And I am terrified. Biscuits, I'm sitting in my car in Chicago, Illinois, getting ready to leave my apartment for about... No, we're coming back on my birthday. But in total, I'm about to be on the road for about a month, doing something that I have wanted to do since I was a kid. This is a road trip that I have dreamed of that is going to take me and one of my best friends in the world. Some of you have already met Reed, but Reed is going to be here with me for a lot of this journey. And I'm finally going to get to visit so many parks that I have wanted to visit, but I just haven't had the time, haven't had the ability, haven't had the means. And we're finally doing that. This has been, first of all, it could not have been planned without Reed. I basically gave Reed the parks and he masterminded this whole thing. And look, part of it is we're going to have to improvise. We're going to have to take things as they come. There are some things that are in the works that hopefully can play out that might dictate just kind of where we go, and they might change the schedule a little bit. But that's all part of the excitement. I genuinely never thought that I was going to have the chance to get to do something like this in my life, just because I was on a drastically different path 2 years ago. I was doing something completely different. And this is just a surreal moment. And I'm so excited. I'm really nervous. Just because being away from home is hard. It's really, really hard, especially when your family's here and, you know, your family's going through some things. It's really, really hard. And now we have the mental battle of we are picking up and we are trying to go to 28 parks in about a month. 28, the first of which is starting today, and then the second of which tomorrow. I'm excited. I'm optimistic. I am unsure. I am so many things right now. I don't even know how to process it. So instead, I'm sitting here talking to you about it, delaying my dispatch time and starting to sweat. So all in all, it's going well. At the end of the day, this is going to be one of the most unbelievable things I have ever done. It's a risk, but that's all part of this game called life. If we're not taking risks, if we're not putting ourselves out there, and we are not trying to live our truth and in our happiness, what's the point, right? So we're going to do that. That being said, we got to get going, y'all. We have about, with traffic is going to be a disaster. Y'all, I recently processed that it's the 4th. So traffic these next few days is going to be a disaster. The parks are going to be slammed. We know that now. We've processed that. We are aware of that. And we are just going to roll with all of what that is and embrace it. It's not going to let us down. It's not going to get us down. And it's going to be great. It's going to be fine. It's going to be amazing. That being said, Starbucks, we need to get a really large coffee. If I'm lucky, this first drive is only going to be about 3.5 hours. So let's go grab a coffee. And then we are going to be making our first stop in the Wisconsin Dells to Mt Olympus theme park. Yeah, let's do it! I will see you all at Mt Olympus. Bye! I do this all the time where I say that I will see you at a certain place and we're not actually doing that yet. We made it to Starbucks. Venti iced coffee, 2 shots of blonde espresso, and extra brown sugar cold foam. Yeah, it's going to be one of those drives. All right, now I'll see you at Mt Olympus. Bye! Look, don't judge me. You know you do it too. It's unbelievable. Okay, bye. Biscuits, we have arrived at Mt Olympus theme park. Yeah! And pulling back into this parking lot is honestly kind of surreal. I went to school at University of Wisconsin-Madison, so in the summers and the spring when Mt Olympus actually opened, I would come here pretty often. I was here when the original Hades opened. Now obviously it's Hades 360 and features an inversion. I need to check the date, but I'm pretty sure that Hades re-debuted as Hades 360 in like 2013, but I'm gonna have to check that. We've got 5 roller coasters, 4 of which are wooden, and Hades 360, obviously one of the most wild roller coasters out there. We've got Zeus, which is an out and back roller coaster that just flies throughout the entirety of the course. The Cyclops, which seems kind of like a nice family wooden roller coaster, unless you were in the back row. It probably has the most extreme airtime moment of any roller coaster out there in the world.
Spoiler alert, this is no longer the case. The trains underwent a modification that takes away from the airtime. You still get airtime, but just not as much airtime as before.
And then we've got some more junior coasters, but then we also have one of the most incredible water parks here, which just unveiled Icarus, which is the world's, not the world's, Jeremy, North America's tallest water slide tower. So there is so much happening here at the Wisconsin Dells, the self-proclaimed water park capital of the world. Actually, I don't know if that's necessarily self-proclaimed, because I don't know any other place in the world that has more water parks than the Wisconsin Dells. But anyway, Biscuits, we're here. Let's get inside, and we are going to be starting at one place and one place only. Hades 360. Let's do it! My hope is that since I made it here during like the hottest part of the day, that the lines are not going to be too bad. So like, for example, right now, Zeus, the station is right here, and it looks like just a station way. People are just up to the station, which is great. Hades 360 is tough because it's the most sought after roller coaster here. It only has one train, and it's a very long ride. So even on some slower days, Hades 360 can just kind of like plunk along, but that's where we got to start first, and then we will hoof it back up this hill and get on Zeus. Hey boy, is this the best way or smartest way to start the trip after what has been about a 3-hour drive? No, probably not, but we are going to do it anyway. I first went on this ride, so it debuted only as Hades in 2005, and then in 2012 it actually shut down and reopened in 2013 as Hades 360, featuring I'm going to call it a zero-G roll, a corkscrew, after you go under the parking lot. We didn't even talk about that. After this massive, massive drop, you take this unbelievable twisty, turny pathway that goes all the way under the length of the parking lot, exits the other side, flips you upside down, before returning back under the parking lot and to this side of the park to complete the ride here. It is insane, it is wild, and it is so wild and insane that up here it says Hades 360 is very aggressive today. Keep your hands down to ensure a safe ride. That's not today, that's every day. So they even warned you before getting on the ride. I'm going to try to go in the front row because that is going to be the smooth. I don't think I can do the back row. Oh my goodness, the line's only at the top of the stairs. That's really not bad. So we are going to try to go in the front row, and we're just going to see how it goes. I have not been on this in years. In years. I can't even remember the last time I was here. I'm nervous. I'm apprehensive. I'm excited. So let's see how this goes. First of all, the line itself really isn't that long. There is this very, very high stairway, but just keep in mind, this is a long attraction. It only operates one train. So if you're waiting down here at the beginning of the entry queue, it says if you're back there, it's a 70-minute wait. But just know that if you're waiting down here, it is a lengthy line just due to only having one train and being a long coaster. Well, and just like that, our first pivot of the day. They sent 2 trains while I was here, and unfortunately it has, I think, gone down. There really hasn't been any communication.
I need to speak on this actually, and I preface this with, I am not an employee, I am not a part of the brand, I have no idea why this would or would not be, but this is just my experience. The ride did not appear to be down. This exact same thing happened when I came back a little bit later. Hades would cycle, and then the train would just sit in the station for goodness knows how long. There'd be no communication with the team members. We would essentially have no idea what was going on. We would just be standing there waiting and baking in the sun. At one point, waiting more than 10 minutes to even get on the train in the first place. It was a really hot day. I am not sure if that affects the operations of Hades and if it needs some extra time in between cycles to cool down. I have no idea. All this to say, the operations were not great, but a little bit of communication from the team members I think would have helped a lot of people that started to get pretty unruly.
And people are just standing there. So we're gonna keep on going. We're gonna go right next door to Zeus, which right now, when I was just up there's nobody in the train, or nobody in the station. So we're gonna go on Zeus. We're gonna knock out everything else, and then once we see Hades come back up, we'll come back over here. But now this is probably gonna move from first to last. So we'll see. But for now, off to Zeus. So Zeus opened in 1997, y'all. Lots of hills here. My goodness, actually not lots of hills, but this one is like shockingly steep, but also kind of exhausting. Anywho, 1997, Custom Coasters International. It's an out and back roller coaster.
and here's all I remember about it. It is furious. The pacing is incredible. The second you get off of the drop, it's nothing but speed and air times hills until you fly into this final brake run that you can hear behind. So I'm excited. It's been a while. I remember really enjoying this ride. Hopefully it's not running too rough, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Next, we're gonna hit up Cyclops, the roller coaster that has an airtime moment that is so aggressive that you have to be 18 or older to ride in the back row. So naturally, that's what we're gonna ride first. But we gotta talk about Zeus. Zeus is running unbelievably well. I don't know when they have done retrack work, but it is running super smooth. There are some bumpy bits, but I really didn't mind it. There was that last turn right before the brake run. You're just taking it so fast that it can't help but be a little bit uncomfortable. But for the most part, I am beyond impressed with how smooth it is, how well it's running. The pace is relentless. The airtime moments that are there are really fun and really aggressive. For being opened in 1997, for it to be running the way that it is right now, probably honestly the best I have ever ridden it. That was so much fun. I'm gonna have to go back around and get on in the front row. I went in the back that time, but wow, Zeus running insane, loved it. Definitely gonna be going back on. So behind me here is Cyclops, opened in 1995. It is also Custom Coasters International, the same company that designed and manufactured Zeus. So here's the crazy thing. You would think that this is the first drop of the ride, right? I mean, it's big, it looks imposing, etc. This is the last drop of the ride. And right here on this drop in the back row is an airtime moment that is so insane and aggressive that you have to be 18 years or older to ride in the back row. I'll show you the sign when we get up there. Look, I have ridden this probably, I'm gonna say between 15 and 25 rides. And no matter what you do, why is my hand still up here? I know this is my new signature pose, but why is my hand still hanging out up here? My goodness. There's nothing you can do to brace for the airtime here. It is that insane. It is that crazy. I'm trying to think of all the rides that I have been on. What has crazier ejector airtime? Now, we just had some unbelievable rides on Magnum at Cedar Point, and that airtime, that ejector, the last part of the ride over the bunny hops, like that's pretty close, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the singular airtime moment here is more aggressive than all of those. If you think that there's a more aggressive airtime moment out there on a coaster, please let me know in the comments. But again, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little apprehensive. I'm a little bit more of a seasoned queen now, since the last time I went on this I was probably in my 20s, but let's go do it. Let's go get on the Cyclops. And look at that, we love to see it. Another walk-on, we'll take it. And now, oh, there's a drop down there, my goodness. You know what? I think they got rid of the rule that you have to be 18 or older right in the back row. It wasn't until after the fact that I realized that these trains no longer have a buzz bar. It is now your typical lap bar. The buzz bar was essentially like a foot away from your leg, so when you went over that airtime hill, you were quite literally standing up in the back of the train. It was insane. The thing is, at first glance, when you look at Cyclops from the opposite side, you're like, oh, it's cutesy. It's kind of like a junior intermediate coaster. No. This coaster has, first of all, there's been some retracking done, so it's actually running pretty well. This back half of the ride, we're just, oh boy, we'll get there. But the front half of the ride is actually quite smooth. I forgot about the airtime at the beginning of the ride. First of all, down the drop, it's pretty steep and then it banks to the left, so you're out of your seat pretty much the entire time. And then those hills on the back half as well, running, I'm not gonna say glossy smooth, but pretty smooth. Lots of pops of airtime in the back row there. But then we get up to here, and here's the thing. While the airtime is still pretty extreme, it is, I don't know what happened, but it's not as extreme as it used to be. You used to quite literally be standing up out of your seat. There's a sign on the back of the seat that says, no standing on the ride. That used to be comical because it's like, you can't help but stand because the airtime is so out of control. So I don't know if it is just taking the drop slower. I don't know what's going on, but it is not the ejector moment that I remember. It is still some good airtime, but not like it was before. So, and that leads me to believe that that's why they got rid of the sign, because I swear, back in the day, others can attest to this. There used to be a sign that said, unless you were 18 or older, you cannot ride in the back row. So the airtime is not what it used to be, but it is still pretty insane. And then this last part of the ride, oh my gosh, you're jackknifing all over the place. You're shuffling and slamming side to side. It was very uncomfortable, but wow. Still an airtime machine, running really, really well, except for this last part here, heading into the brake run, and you're still hitting the brake run with so much speed. I'm impressed, honestly, with how good of care they're taking of these roller coasters and just the shape that they're in. But we're about to go over to what is technically more of like a junior wooden roller coaster, but is also kind of intense in its own way. And I remember the last time it being very uncomfortable. Just the smoothest of the ride and how small the trains are. We're heading over, you can't see it, to Pegasus. The rates of speed of which all of these rides fly into the brake run is kind of unprecedented in a lot of ways. All three of the rides we've been on so far, flying. They could complete 2 more roller coasters. Okay, maybe 1 more roller coaster, but still, the point being, my goodness, how fast they are flying into the brake run. Okay, on we go, back row. Not doing it again, and you cannot convince me otherwise. My goodness. First of all, there's nothing like junior adjacent about this roller coaster. I need to check to see if like that's kind of like how they list it as, but this is not a coaster that young kids, especially if they're new into roller coasters, that they're gonna get off. Most, I'm gonna say most, maybe some will, I'm not sure, are gonna be like, yes, that was it. Let's go on it again. Let's go on another. Actually, there were some kids on the ride that they were in the second row and they were like, let's go again. So who knows, maybe like kids are just tougher than I am. Now, Little Titans, on the other hand, this is a different story. This is very cutesy, very calm. This will hopefully make the younger biscuits want to go on more roller coasters. Pegasus, I don't know. Because here's the thing, it's kind of extreme. The elements are very quick. The layout is really compact. So the turns and whatnot, compact. They also have next to no banking whatsoever. So not only are you taking a lot of the turns quickly, the laterals are insane and there's no banking. So you're just kind of getting thrashed from side to side. Like, ouch, my neck. What a brutal experience. And then there's like this little double down moment over here. I'm gonna show you here in a second that I'm quite literally aghast. I knew that it was brutal. I knew that it was kind of like more adventurous than it should be, but my goodness, I don't have to do that again. This is gonna be the Great Pool of Delphi. Now, this is new since the last time I visited Mount Olympus, and it's essentially just a really large family pool with some water details. We've got some Colosseum-like columns, and then it also looks like around we're gonna have some cabanas here. I'm not really sure what the cost of those are, but this is a really nice little area for the entire family, especially on a day like today that is very hot. This is a great place to be. And you know what? It's actually nice to see some pretty decently priced snacks. Okay, look, $7.26 for Dippin' Dots is kind of insane, but like $7.96 for a beer, $8.90 for a specialty beer, $13 for a margarita, daiquiri, pina colada, like nachos $6, pretzels about $6. Like, it could be far worse. Water for like $4, again, could be far worse. So I decided to go in on a pretzel. I think that this will be the one and only thing that I have here today. The cheese does come with it, $6. And so basically they take the pretzel that's been sitting to the side, they spritz it with water, they cover it in the salt, and then they put it in the microwave. So Needless to say, expectations are low here, but who knows? Maybe it will be one of the best pretzels I've ever had. So, stay tuned. One bite, here we go. Honestly, I was prepared for it to be much worse. I've had far worse pretzels, even at Walt Disney World. It's super soft. Like, I'm kind of not mad at the fact that they microwaved it because the result really isn't that bad. I wish the outside was like a little crunchier, but that's just me with like the soft inside. The cheese is actually pretty good. For $6, like, I'm not necessarily mad at it. Do I have to get it again? No. But for what it is, like, it could be far worse. We'll take it. You know, Biscuits, I really haven't mentioned just how much this is also like a go-kart park. Also, this is an additional cost. It is a swing. It's an S&S swing, and it's awesome. I'm not sure what the exact extra cost is. I personally wouldn't pay it. I've done it before, but if you haven't done it before, it might be worth the extra cost because, again, it is really fun. But they have go-karts over here. This one's going to be more for our younger Biscuits. Over here, we're going to have, it's called Helios, and that one just has, it looks like a bunch of helixes. And then over here, over by Hades 360 and the other roller coasters, there's going to be one over there. We saw the Iron Horse at the beginning of the parking lot. That huge, massive Iron Horse that you do go through as well. So lots of, oh, there's one right here too. Is this the Iron, no, this is not the Iron Horse. What is this one called? Let's see what this one's called. This one is called Titan's Track. So lots of go-karts here as well. If you are a tall Biscuit, just know that they are some smaller karts. It's a little bit funky in terms of the seating, but that is another thing that you can do that is included with your price of admission. So, the more you know. This again is going to be Helios. It's a one helix that goes down here, you go up and over like a little bridge there, and then a helix that goes up. And then also, I didn't see over here, in addition to, again, over by that ship, let me zoom all the way in with the eye, that's going to be another go-kart course over there. And then right over here, there's actually a little go-kart here for our mini Biscuits. Oh, I gotta zoom out a little bit more. Hashtag professional. I mean, look at these little tiny go-karts. This is adorable. This one is called Tiny Heroes. I love this. Oh my. This one looks like it might be even more crazy than the one at Typhoon Lagoon. My goodness, yo, this is Poseidon's Rage. Oh no, I'm in shoes. Am I gonna get wet? Uh-oh. We have to abort, 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 abort. Oh no. Is it coming? Oh, it's coming. Oh, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. Oh, my goodness. Okay, good to know. The water does come up all the way this far, but this wave is bonkers. True story, the first time I ever went into this wave pool when it opened, like at Typhoon Lagoon, I also lost my swim trunks here. So, the more you know. You're welcome and not welcome at the same time. So, lesson learned, tie your swim trunks. This is also going to be a new addition that I have not experienced. This, I can't remember what was here. I think it actually might have been a sky coaster, but it has now since been replaced with one of these sky swings. I actually do not know what this is called. And in comparison to other swing-like rides out there, this one is pretty tame. It's really not very tall. And oh, it actually looks like it goes up multiple times. That's actually pretty cool. That's really cool to see. I might have to hop on that. Oh boy. Here's going to be one of the tower areas. Now this slide right here has a half pipe. It's one of my favorite slides here. And then this is going to be a two-person tube slide, and it looks like you come hurling down this. And then they also have a little bit of a structure here, some smaller slides and some water details for our younger Biscuits as well.
The purple slide here is another fun family raft ride. It's a little bit more intense than the yellow slide, which is a little bit more laid back and slow as it meanders through the slide, but both of these are, again, great family water slides. And then this contraption is the one and only of its kind in the United States, I believe. I do not think that there is another one. I could be completely wrong, but essentially you go into this massive Ferris wheel-like twisted craziness of slide, and you make your way throughout the course, which then eventually sends you into the blue tube here to finish the rest of the slide and then finish back inside. It looks kind of insane. I'm gonna have to bring some friends back with me and get on this and try this because it looks so unique, and again, it's like nothing else that's out there. And then here we have Icarus, which is North America's tallest water slide. Now, I've been on a similar tower, and if you've been to Royal Caribbean's private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay, then you have been on something similar. Now, I do believe that they are a different layout, but this one is in fact taller. And then the drop slides that this slide has, they're not the trap door, but it looks like they have 1, 2, 3 of them in addition to the top plunge, which goes all the way up to the top. I have to check to see how tall it is. At its top height right here, Icarus is going to be 145 feet tall. Now, the climb to the top, I promise you, is, I'm not gonna promise, it's probably going to be worse than the way back down. But the thing about these slides is that even though it looks like not too steep of a helix on the way down, the speed that you pick up throughout the course is insanity. That's what caught me off guard so much when I did the one at Royal Caribbean's private island at Perfect Day, is that I was like, oh, it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna be, you will go hauling down these things. So this is another reason to get here to Mount Olympus to try this water slide, because I'm telling you, it is gonna be insane. Then right next to Icarus, we have another splash area for our little biscuits and their families. And then also we've got some more cabanas. Now the difference here is these have an inside attachment to them. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they are also air conditioned. So these are undoubtedly going to be the most expensive ones. Oh yeah, I see air conditioners in there, but this is also an option if you are going to be coming here to Mount Olympus. And they look pretty nice. You get a couch, air conditioner, I'm sure that there's a refrigerator of some kind in there. These are great. And then here's going to be the River Troy. It's a lazy river, and it's fairly basic. It's straightforward. You get on a tube, you go around, there are some water details. It's nothing that elaborate. It's probably one of the more basic lazy rivers I've ever seen at a park, but hey, it still looks nice, especially today on a hot day. It's also an indoor lazy river, and then I remember these slides like they were yesterday. They are 2-person tube slides. I'm not sure, you might be able to do 1 person, and when I tell you, you go hurling down these slides, you go flying down these slides. They're so much fun. And then this is where you're gonna enter Medusas Wheel. And honestly, I was expecting the line to be quite a bit longer, but it's really not too bad. You go up the stairs here, you board here, and then again, this is gonna be where you exit. So I have to come back and try this. Here's the thing, if you're going to be coming to Mount Olympus and you're going to be coming to the Wisconsin Dells, period, and you're going to be making kind of like a trip out of it, there kind of has to be an order of operation. So for example, even though this is a really lovely water park, in comparison to some of the other water parks around, it's really underwhelming. For example, Noah's Ark. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, I need to check and fact check this, it is the biggest water park in the world. And some of the water slides there are unbelievable. Black Anaconda, if you've been on it, you know, it's essentially a water coaster. It has a conveyor belt that like essentially launches you uphill. It's incredible. Noah's Ark is in just kind of like a league of its own. Also, Kalahari is constantly expanding. I cannot believe how much bigger Kalahari get. They've added on to the resorts. They're adding, I think it's 75,000 more square feet of water park. So Kalahari has a really large indoor-outdoor water park, and they are only adding on to it. So just keep that in mind. This is going to be one of the first water parks you're going to want to come to, because it is going to feel a little underwhelming in comparison to the other water parks that are here. Now we're gonna head inside. They used to have a Wild Mouse roller coaster in here. I'm pretty sure it was a Zamperla that was kind of buku bonkers, not so insano, but something tells me it's gone. Like I'm looking at the sign over here, it says Pantheon, because this is kind of modeled after the Pantheon, and it says Kittyland Arcade and Mini Golf Food and Beverage, which leads me to believe I think the Wild Mouse is gone. Oh no! Well, let's go in and see. Yeah, the wild mouse is gone. They have, what is this called? Parthenon Bar and Eat, so they got some food here. They do have some kiddie rides. I'll walk you all over there in a second. And then it is an arcade space here too, so we've got the arcade. The putt-putt is gonna be over here. It looks like just kind of like a cutesy little 9-hole. But this is kind of sad. Like, I'm not gonna lie, okay, like the area was never really that spectacular to begin with, but at least with the wild mouse that they had in here, again, it was wild. I'm pretty sure it was Zamperla, and you went hurling around that ride. I'm pretty sure that mid-course really didn't hit, and you spun so much, it was out of control. Yeah, here's gonna be the putt-putt, but yeah, it's giving county fair. It's giving county fair. It's kind of sad. The sky and the blue in the ceiling is a lovely touch, and it is very hot in here, so it is reminiscent of being outside, just on a very shady day. But yeah, it's such a bummer to have the wild mouse gone. Here's going to be your overview of the Kiddieland section. We have, what is this, a fire truck? No, a Lazy Susan? I'm not sure what this is. It's a crazy trolley. Okay, yes, it's giving crazy. It's giving out of control. It's giving wilds. And then we've got the bumper cars over here. We have like this Candyland swing that I'm sure is, even though it has a clown and lollipop-like attachments, I'm sure it is something Grecian. No, it is not. It is just called the Kiddie Swing. We've got some airplanes, we've got the hot air balloons, we have some teacups down there as well, and then once again, we've got the overview of the entirety of the arcade. So, you know, it's a bummer to lose a coaster, but I'm glad that there is attention to our younger biscuits so they can have more rides and attractions here as well. I think that's very smart. Over here is going to be several different places that you can get food. So it looks like we've got the Greek Tycoon, gyros, and ice cream. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of obsessed with that combo. I kind of want both of those things. And then we also have Cafe Opa, which brews Starbucks. It looks like they have some pastries in there as well. Right here we are going to have Pandora's Candy, so it's looking very confectionery. That's not a word, is it? Slay, Jeremy. And then they also have some merch and some, not squishmallows, but plushies. That's the word I'm searching for. In addition to all the candy, Aphrodite gifts and apparel, so more merch here as well. And then I think that there's going to be, what is this down here? Is this a pizza place? We're going to have to see. I'm not exactly sure. Locker rentals. We got Dippin' Dots. What is this last place? I cannot remember. I'll see you when we're over there. So this is probably where I've seen a lot of people with these ice cream cones that look really, really good. I'm guessing it's from here. Yaya's Ice Cream and Treat Shop. Once again, we've got ice cream and Dippin' Dots. It was a pizza joint. See, that's why you gotta trust your instincts, biscuits. Oftentimes I second guess mine and then, you know, but that's besides the point. My big fat Greek pizza joint. I love the dichotomy there and what they're trying to do. It's a blending of culture, and I'm here for it. And the pizza joint is giving bread and crust. Cute. I love theming. This is just a reminder that sometimes I just have to lock it down and stop talking, but here we are. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm walking past 5, 6 ice cream cones, and look, it's just straight vanilla too. I live for that. I don't need anything fruity. Fruity, not the word I was looking for. I don't need that. But just like a good vanilla ice cream, like that's all you really need. Or just like a good chocolate. I'm not gonna lie, like those Neapolitan ice cream sandwich bars from my childhood, those are probably still one of the best treats that you can get out there. Please tell me that those are still relevant and still exist. I cannot believe Pegasus, the way that it just flies around that last turn into the brake run and just hits the brake. Squirrel! It is still just, I am still jarred. I am still feeling it as we speak. Okay, on to our last ride of the day. I'm gonna have to check, but I'm pretty sure the Little Titans here is kind of like the roller coaster in Camp Snoopy at Cedar Point. Unless you are with a bebe, I'm pretty sure you have to be of a certain height under, you can't be too tall to ride the ride unless you are riding with a younger biscuit. So I'm gonna have to check on that. Yes, so this is what I was looking for. Okay to ride between the yellow line. So you must be between 40 inches and 56 inches tall. So keep that in mind. I'm pretty sure that means that if you are over 56 inches, no dice, too bad, so sad. So, good to know. You know what? They've got some pretty solid drinks on this list, I'm not going to lie. And if I had some of these drinks, I would be the problem. Like, for example, the Alabama Slammer. Oh, it has amaretto in it? I haven't seen that in a long time. Sex on the Beach, Mai Tai, Blue Hawaii, a Bomb Pop. That sounds delicious. Another thing I haven't mentioned yet is I kind of like that they embrace that this is very much a theme and water park. So they let you wander around, whether that's the water park or the theme park, without shoes, with shoes, without a shirt, with a shirt. They let you on rides without a shirt. And I think that that's kind of neat, honestly. I've been seeing some heroes try to brave walking around here without shoes. I do not recommend that because it is hot, and I can only imagine how hot that black asphalt is. Anyway, we're back to Hades. We haven't been able to hit Hades yet, and it looks to be up, it looks to be going. And this seems like a very fitting way to end our day here in Mount Olympus before driving about 3.5 hours to Minnesota to our next destination. So let's hop in line and let's get on Hades 360. Okay, the fact that that's even the first drop out of the station, I mean, this first drop out of the station is bigger than most drops on a lot of other roller coasters. It's wild. And then you have like this whole preamble, is that the right word? This whole preamble to the lift hill, to the meaty part of the ride. Yeah, the part that goes down the drop onto the parking lot, a whole bunch of crazy things into a 360-degree inversion, and then goes back onto the parking lot and back over to here. Yeah, you know, I don't get nervous for a lot of rides. It's just, now it's to the point where I've been on a lot of these rides. I know how rough they can ride, but I also know how unbelievably incredible this ride is. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but we're gonna have to see. Here's to hoping that it's running well. Unbelievable speed going into the brake run. I mean, look how high the brake run is off the ground. I'm going to say that it's at least, let's call it 100 feet. And the fact that it still can finish that high off of the ground after everything that it does and still has that much speed, wild. Then basically just to walk up into the station, we are going all the way up to the front and we're going to wait for the front. I'm going to say more about this soon, but this is the most bizarre loading and unloading procedure I have ever seen. And it also takes quite a bit of time. I will download, I will upload, I will speak more, whatever, I will speak I will speak more on that soon as I get off. I was gonna go around and do it again in the back row. No chance. No chance. I'm gonna leave with the positives. The last like eighth of the ride, it is retracked, it is smooth. If the entire ride ran like that, this would be one of the best roller coasters in the world, period. That being said, I'm trying to think through my Rolodex of rides that I have been on in my entire life, which is a lot. And I don't know how many are more intense than this roller coaster right here. It feels like it shouldn't even exist. It almost feels illegal with everything that it does. Between how fast it is. The tunnel under the parking lot is pitch black. You can't see anything. All you can hear is the gorgeous sound of the Timberliner trains. I love that sound so much. All you can hear is just how fast the trains are going in the tunnel, and then you hit a 90-degree banked turn before emerging into the light and immediately into the inversion. It all happens so fast that it feels like you're trying to play catch up the entirety of the ride. I'm quite honestly at a loss for words. And again, there's no short supply of pace from start to finish. That's out of the station. That is the second you leave the first drop. How this ride continually picks up pace the entire time, I will never know. And then also, when did that become a double down? That was not always a double down, right? After the camelback, after the tunnel coming back, that used to just be a straight drop, right? Did that become a double down with Hades 360? Because I don't remember that at all.
I'm at a loss for words. Look, it's rough. It's rough. It's aggressive. It is thrilling. It's kind of terrifying. And is it worth coming all the way here to the Wisconsin Dells to try it? I mean, yes and no. There are very few, if any, roller coasters like this in the world. And the wooden roller coasters that they have here, honestly, they're really not that bad. And they're taking really good care of them. But Hades 360 is in a league of its own. And that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a fact and a statement. That is one of the craziest rides I will ever endure. And it is so intense, and just, there are some aspects of it that are so aggressive that I can't even fathom going around and going back in the back row right now. So we're going to be done with that for today. But wow. Well, Biscuits, that's one park down and 27 to go. I'm so glad that I came back to the park. Do I have to come back in the near future? No, probably not, unless they do something drastically different, or I hear that, for example, Hades 360 gets completely overhauled, whether that's by GCI or RMC, because if they completely overhauled this ride and retracked it, this would be undoubtedly one of the best roller coasters in the world, and I'm willing to say that with my full chest. But as a whole, it's a very interesting park. It's essentially a theme park and a water park on a parking lot with, you know, minimal theming. You get the whole Greek aspect in places, mostly in the names, and then in some of the decor as well. All I really had to eat was the pretzels, so I can't really speak to much of the food, but I can speak to the prices a little bit. And the prices, as far as theme park prices go, not too bad. But what was just diabolical? Parking, I haven't mentioned, $40 for parking. I'm guessing that I maybe missed something where I could have gotten parking for less expensive. If you're staying at the hotel, obviously that's going to be included. And then your park admission, I'm pretty sure it's also included with your hotel stay. But $40 for parking, which, diabolical, insane, help. As a whole, glad I came. Don't have to come back for a while pending. They do not really change things or add anything that is spectacular or, like I said, retract the ride. But if you haven't visited, this is a park that at some point on your list of places to go, if you are in Wisconsin, close by, come through. Because riding Hades 360 is a ride you will quite literally never forget. It's impossible. And Icarus and some of the other slides here, it's a really nice park. And that reminds me, once again, if you haven't yet, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so every time I post something, you can come and slay with me. But for now, it is time for me to slay my way back into my car to grab another really large coffee, because if I'm lucky, we've got about a 3.5 hour drive to go to our next destination, which we are heading to Minnesota, and our first stop in Minnesota, Nickelodeon Universe at the Mall of America. Love you, Biscuits, and as always, I will see you at the parks. Bye!